Hey there, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Once again, my name is Gary Karp. I am an author and mindful and transformation coach. I'm moving a little slowly today because I've had one great weekend where I was at my mentor Orlia Moore's wonderful boot camp for speakers and thought leaders who want to make a change in this life. And I had a wonderful time there in New York, 3 days cooped up, learning all sorts of great things from all sorts of great people. And I'm also here today with my friend and another great person. We all know her. We all love her, Katy West, the founder of the Group of One. And we're going to have another part of our conversation. This is part 6 and I think 16 that we're going to be doing. And today we're going to be talking about Ascension Symptoms, what they are, how you can recognize. Hey there, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Hold on.
Once again, my name is Gary Karp. I am an author and when you can hear that, sometimes we have technical glitches, and technical glitches, Katie not turning off the other computer, so
I know.
you heard me come through the second computer that she has set up. But these are all fine. Everything is meant to happen. And as soon as she's done with her end and the technical difficulties, I'm going to turn things over to my beautiful co-host, the founder of Group of One and the brand new business owner in a kinetic chain release practice, and maybe she'll tell us a little bit about that. Katie, how you doing this evening?
Hi, Gary. Yes, I'm doing well. Just a little minor correction. I'm creator of the Group of One.
Oh, creator. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and there's five co-founders. There's 5 of us that actually came up with the idea. And I was the one that basically grabbed the bull by the horns and created the platform and just kept it going. But yeah, and 4 of us who are still very good friends. One's went off travelling, and I haven't spoken to him for a long time. So,
Before we get into our topic, can you tell us a little bit about why you created the Group of One?
Well, actually, it's probably more apt to this conversation we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
We created the Group of One as a platform for like-minded people who were going through their own sort of processes, looking for something. It was obviously back in the beginning when we all met at a Neil Donald Walsh reunion retreat, and that was the reunion. Basically, was for anybody in England, well, not just England, but anybody who'd been on a Neil Donald Walsh retreat. We put this all together, and people could just like-minded people could meet at this one weekend, and we had Neil on Skype and so forth.
Okay.
But so yes, that was really good. So we met at this particular reunion in Dorset, and yes, it was to create a platform for people, well, just like us really, that were sort of looking to connect with like-minded people to talk about CWG, oneness, connection, you know, to sort of who were looking for answers. I mean, I kept it going basically because I went through some incredibly intense, what most people call them ascension symptoms. I personally sort of call it, because we were talking a little bit earlier, but I'm sort of not into that sort of soft and fluffy side of spirituality. So I've just not really gone down that road. I've not attracted or created that as my experience. I'm more, I like to sort of put things more into down to earth, like more layman's terms. So the ascension symptoms for me are more like sort of sort of shifts that my body's going through because I'm constantly evolving and changing.
Okay. Now, if you had to say, because we're throwing around ascension symptoms, it's like saying the symptoms of the flu. So if they don't know what the symptoms of the flu is, they could be going through these things but not realize that they're having these symptoms. What would you say are some of these ascension symptoms?
Well, I suppose the most sort of common one is extreme fatigue. tiredness to the point of actually really can't move. Really, it's sort of like a little bit like flu, but without the cough and cold. You just really have absolutely no energy whatsoever to move. And I was like that for quite possibly nearly 4 years. It was a real struggle to go to work and to do really much else.
What else besides the fatigue, besides that just tiredness that you have, what other symptoms are there? Because I've done a little bit of research on this.
Yeah.
My background and just my interests. And from what I've heard, it's not only fatigue, but it's also feeling out of sorts or out of step, almost disconnected from your body, disconnected from people or the community around you. It could be being very anxious and very nervous, feeling down or blue or in a depressed situation. So are these some things that you experienced while you were going through this?
Yes, exactly. Out of balance, I suppose that's how I felt outside. So I sort of felt one way inside, and yeah, I suppose I felt detached, separated, disconnected from the outer world. So it was for me. It was like I'll tell you something else I used to have. I'm just going back to when it was really intense. Everything on the outer it seemed like when I focused my attention on something, it zoomed in on me, literally. It was almost like being at the cinema, 3D glasses on.
It's like a hyper focus or an ultra focus visually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, visually. I got that. My sleeping patterns were off the wall. They still are a little bit now, but they're not as bad. I mean, they were, 2 hours here, time. It was like time was totally irrelevant. I was just sleeping, and I had to go to sleep because I was so tired all the time. I'd sleep round the clock sometimes, but always wake up. I'd wake up sort of at night. I'd wake up really late. So it's almost like I was a bit nocturnal in that respect for a long time.
I just want to briefly interrupt here because the symptoms that we're talking about could very well be leading to, for lack of a better term than what we're using today, is ascension or awakening, if you will. Some sort of spiritual transformation or cognizant transformation in your beliefs, in a person's beliefs. But they may also represent being actually medically ill with the condition of anxiety or the condition of depression. So I just want to take one moment out here and let anybody know that if you do feel this way, you have this disconnect, you have this fatigue, you have this non-awareness of time, or this ultra focusing in visually or ultra focus in audio, don't immediately think that it's just being ascended and you're going to the next evolution of whatever that's going to be to you. It may be a serious medical condition that needs to be taken a look at, such as depression. Do not take it lightly. Please get medical help. Now, I also want to say that one does not necessarily counteract the other, because it could be that you are suffering physically from the symptoms of depression, but also are ascending or am evolving, for a word I prefer, evolving.
I like that word.
To your next level, whatever that's going to be. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to, slip the bounds of the mortal coil and stop being corporeal and just be thought energy, but you will find some changes in the way you think and the way you feel, and this could be the chrysalis to the butterfly that's about to come up.
Have you read my notes?
But actually, no, I haven't. But it's also important while you're going through it to get the help, because depression is serious. And even though it may lead to something else, you still need to concentrate on the now and be in the moment and take care of yourself in the moment, even though you will be evolving and getting ready to be your butterfly. I'm sorry, I did not mean to take the steam out of your notes there.
I written them up. You nearly said everything I've written down there, Gary. Anyway.
Sorry, because that, to me, is the most important part of evolving. We all go through that time. I went through it. Katie's gone through it. It doesn't mean we're more evolved or we are ascended, because whenever I hear the word ascension or ascended, especially in the New Age community, it has a bit of a lofty exclusivity to it. You know, I am more important to you because I have ascended and transcended earthly bonds, and I don't need your blee 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 anymore. And it's really not about that. So I don't like the word ascension. I prefer evolution, because that's really what we're doing. We're evolving, and we're coming to the next stages of who we're going to be, both individually and as a collective, because remember, there's only one of us. So what happens to one of us is happening to all of us. It's just happening at different times. So when we're talking about ascension, I'm going to use the word evolving or transforming throughout this conversation, because it's just easier for me.
Exactly.
Always be aware that what's going through is going to be for your greater good and your higher understanding. And look at it as a gift. I know for me, it wasn't a very happy time, because it may actually start, and Katie, let me know if you have this situation in your life. My evolution, my transformation started with a very human situation that was extremely low vibrational energy. It started with me getting a divorce, losing my job, becoming homeless when I was evicted from my apartment. These are very hard human things, and that did send me into a depression, which led to suicidal thoughts in the whole 9 yards. And I wasn't even thinking in terms of evolution or transformation back then. I was just thinking, while I was in it, of I don't want this pain anymore. And secondly, when I started getting help to help me manage the pain of just survival every single day, one day after the next, one foot after the other, that's all I was looking at. Really, those were the lessons that started my life in being in the moment and being mindful. It's one of the reasons I do what I do. So my evolution and transformation into this higher spiritual being really started from a very low place. So always be aware that when you're having these symptoms of anxiety, depression, if you have any suicidal thoughts, please reach out to someone, anyone, and get help. Save yourself. Move forward, because there's so much better when you get to the other side. Katie, a physical manifestation in your life of these symptoms, or a bad, negative, low energy place that it came from?
Right, yeah, it's actually interesting, because whilst you were talking, I was trying to sort of, think as to what sort of prompted this, I suppose. And my background is, it was more of a spiritual experience as opposed to another physical experience, where since I've been 8 years old, that's when I sort of first became aware. I'm naturally clairvoyant, clairsentient, and clairaudient. So since I was 8 years old, I could see, hear, and feel spirit, basically. Spirit energy, well, spirits. I can see spirits, and I've not been taught how to do that. It's just something that I became aware of. That in the first part of my life, I wasn't scared to hear, and I wasn't scared to feel, but I was scared to see them. So I didn't actually start seeing them until I was ready to see them. You know, I sort of grew into that. I suppose I got stronger in myself that, you know, okay, this is a part of my life. You know, what's there to be scared about?
Mm-hmm.
And not just that, I wasn't sure what I was seeing was actually what I was seeing, because I didn't have any friends that could see that sort of thing. So I didn't really have anybody to talk to. So it wasn't until sort of later on, I went to one clairvoyant workshop, and I thought, right, okay, any spirits that come through, I'm just going to start, you know, explaining what they look like, describing, so forth, just to prove it to myself what I was seeing was what I was seeing. So I did that, and the person I was doing a reading for, she totally gobsmacked, you know, that everything was just totally spot on. So, but I just did that once. It's not something, you know, that I wanted to go into. I've only ever used it for my own personal gain, so to speak. Not gain, I suppose, survival.
Okay,
My
I was
own
going to ask you
personal,
to clarify that. Thank you.
yeah, my own personal survival, as opposed to sort of, you know, giving other people readings. I mean, sometimes when I'm in conversation, something comes through, but really not much. I suppose I don't really focus on it, so I'm because I'm not, you know. But in that experience, I suppose over time of seeing everything out there, the more I experienced these other, you know, spirits from other realms, the more I actually came to realise that, oh, I don't know how to describe this, that that all beings, past and future, exist in this one moment.
Absolutely.
And that's basically what came, and I can't reiterate or even actually go in there to try and explain to you, although I'd love to, how I got to that understanding. I think with a lot of my research science stuff, my theories and stuff, and once I'd understood that and grasped that total concept from spirits to later on, I started, what's the word? I don't like that word, channeling, but it's the only word I can think of. ETs, the Arturian race. I didn't realise that that's who I was speaking to for many years until that came out a few years ago. But again, that now when I think of spirits or ETs or anything, it's just me evolved. You know, that's just me looking at me. So, yeah, go on.
I can't, you know, I'm sorry for stepping on you, but what you said struck such a nerve with me because it reminded me of fragments of my journeys.
Yeah.
Because I do agree that everyone who has lived, is living, or will live has happened in the same moment. Same way that, you know, everything that has happened, is happening, and will happen is happening at the same moment. And that time, and what we consider time, and what we consider a lifespan, is really a construct so our heads don't explode while we're in this limited understanding of this vessel, this body. And there were times, I'm trying to remember when that clicked for me, because I do distinctly remember having, as a younger child, not understanding what I was going through, and then logically, you know, the logical mind takes over and goes, oh, I couldn't possibly have had that. Or as you get older, or you start to talk about your experiences and you find they are so different, you just go, oh, okay, that was maybe my child's imagination, as you remember it, and you put it into a different box. But I do remember having those invisible friends on the playground. I did not know if they were living. I did not know if they were dead. I did not know if they came from this time frame or another time frame, but I remember having those imaginary friends that only I could see. I remember being able to, for lack of a better term, mind read.
Yeah.
Well, no, not knowing what it was, like just catching the internal dialogue of people randomly when I was a little kid, just, well, and thinking they were talking to me because that's how clearly I heard it.
Yeah.
And then I would answer it, and my mother would be like, "Who are you talking to?" Because we'd be like in the mall or down the street, and all that kind of stuff happening. And I think it's interesting that when we talk about evolving, transformation, and coming to the next level, we often see it in people that we have labeled in this society as autistic,
Yeah.
suffering from Asperger's, being, for lack of a better term, slow.
Yeah.
That these are the people that seem just out of step. But there also seem to be the people, and I know it's true for me because I am on the spectrum, way up high functioning, but I am, and I still have moments where ultra sensitivity comes in and just takes me over. And it could be that ultra sensitivity is attempting to connect to the spirit, quote unquote. Because again, I don't think there's any spirit. What we would call a spirit or a ghost is simply another form of life. It's just energy that is in a different realm or a different plane, at least in my opinion. So when you see the kids, don't discount your own experience, and don't discount a child's experience, or if you are meeting an autistic individual and they seem ultra connected, or they see spirits or whatever it is, or they seem ultra sensitive, don't discount that, because we have labeled that as a bad thing. Maybe not necessarily a bad, but we've labeled it out of the norm. And we set those who are on the autistic spectrum apart. And it may be that we've just labeled it incorrectly, because I've also found that people who are on the autistic spectrum who have Asperger's are highly sensitive, ultra creative, and they're really, by and large, from what I meet, the thought people. Because they're ultra concerned about others and moving society forward, which I believe is another form and another symptom, if you will, of being evolved.
Yeah. I would say, well, as you know, Gary, I have Asperger's. And in the past few years, I was diagnosed, for those watching, in 2006. So since I've had my diagnosis, I've met quite a few people since then who have been diagnosed with Asperger's. And it's so interesting that each person couldn't be as different as the other. In sort of the way they express, it's almost like from one extreme to the other in various different many ways. There's something that really sort of shines through, you know, something real like that. Well, as you say, that sort of passion, that energy, that focus, you know, and each thing is different. But one thing I have noticed that really almost like jumps out at me, what they seem to all have in common, is that being very present in the now, very sort of and it's almost like, well, past is past, done is done. There's nothing you can do about it. It's very matter of fact. It's not. I mean, like for me, I'm very well. Past is past. I don't even think about or dwell. But very much in the moment. That's what I've noticed just from the people that I've met.
And I'll agree with you. I know I have friends who are and who have children who are on the spectrum, and the one thing that they all, to a person, keep telling me is everything has to be repeated every single day like it's the first time the child has heard it. So whether it's something that we would consider to be relatively repetitive and go into a routine, brushing your teeth, making your bed, or just, hey, remember, we're going to go to grandma's tomorrow, or whatever it is. It has to be repeated every single day because they do and they are living in that moment. So literally there is no tomorrow, there is no yesterday. There is just this moment, the eternal moment of now.
Yeah.
And what you're describing to me is very similar to what I say. Now, I know I have a past. That, they are my experiences. And I understand that. But to me, if somebody would bring up my past, no, that's not who I am anymore. I learn from them, I move on, but I don't live there. I don't even acknowledge them unless I'm forced to look and talk about them. And really, on the future, I have my plans that I want to go and things I truly want to accomplish, but I don't live there either. It's in the moment. So I think you are right when you're talking about evolved people and transformational people, that we are living in the now, the moment. And that could be a sign of awakened beings.
Well, I actually, sorry, Gareth, just
It's okay.
Well, I actually believe that the awakening, or the ascension, to whatever, it's returning back to now. That's a good name for a film.
Returning back to now. That's an interesting phrase. Okay. Could you expand on that? Because my mind is a little bit of a pretzel right now.
I don't know. That just sort of came out.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, we're in the moment.
We're returning back to now. Here we are. Okay.
By the way, I may use that, just letting you know that. I do like that phrase.
It's like, in the past probably 10 or 15 years, and each year it seems to be more and more children are being born on the autistic spectrum. And I mean, society, as you said, sees this as sort of a bad thing. I actually see it as a fantastic thing.
I'm just going to interrupt for a slight second, because I don't think that we're being born, more children are being born on the autistic spectrum. I think that there is more an awareness of autism now, and we have the technology and a little bit more understanding so we can diagnose it. When I was growing up, I was on the spectrum. Yeah. All my friends were, but there was no way to diagnose it, so we were labeled as learning disabled, slow, and either put into a slow class or labeled troublemakers or told we didn't work hard enough to get the good grades.
Yeah.
So
that's what I meant.
Yeah, I think there's more of an awareness of people.
Yeah, more of an awareness.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And what seems to me is, okay, I'm just generalizing here, but it seems like, you know, how can I put it? Right, with those on the autistic spectrum and those that have been sort of diagnosed, and those that I suppose are very strong in who they are and know who they are and find it incredibly difficult being someone else. Do you know what I mean? Or trying, people, you know, somebody on the autistic who's very stubborn in their way, yeah, you know what I mean by that. I mean that as a good thing.
No, I agree with you. I got you. I'm on board.
Yeah, okay. Um, they they cannot be changed, and it's almost like they come in not wanting to change. They're happy with who they are. It's like they've come in because they are here to move us forward, and it's not about trying to change them, but they've come in to help other people adapt to who they are.
And this is a great segue, as long as we're talking about evolution and transformation, and you're talking about children who know so strongly they're here for us. We can talk a little bit about indigo children and star children.
And crystal children.
I'm sorry.
And adults. Exactly.
How would you perceive the indigos and the crystals in terms of this ascension, both for themselves individually, and where are they trying to take the rest of us with us? You know, are they here just because they have transformed, or is there a mission that they're here to show us the way, I guess I'm trying to say?
Okay, yeah, I mean, there's so many, isn't there? I mean, I'm just really aware of indigo and crystal. Mm-hmm. That's all really I've sort of, I suppose, attracted or created to be my experience. So I don't really know much about sort of the rainbows and the diamonds and, you know, the others out there. But anyway, so for those listening, you know, I'm just concentrating on the two I know of. Anyway, so what was the question, Gary?
What is the purpose? I mean, are crystals and indigos just a natural evolutionary process, or are they sentient? I know I've done a little research on this. I don't know as much as you, which is why I'm deferring to you as the expert in this conversation. Is it just a process of the evolution, or, as some people have said, are they from the Anunnaki or some other alien race that have been purposefully seeded here to bring us into the next stages?
Okay, I'm only going to talk on behalf of my own experience.
And that's all we can do.
Because I can't talk on behalf of... Right. I see each and every single one of us, obviously myself, as being the creators of our own unique realities. So whatever somebody else believes to be their reality, it is true for them. Whether I agree with it or not, it is true for them. If someone believes they have been abducted by aliens, that is true for them, because they truly believe that, and that is their experience, and so therefore it's true. Okay? I may disagree with it, not believe it, whatever, but then, you know, that's my experience. That's what I choose to believe. But it doesn't make them wrong. This, you know, so when you talk about the indigo, the crystal coming in, again, going from my own experience, as we know from each experience we have, like any experience, you learn something from it, and you take 9 times out of 10, we take from that and take it into the next experience, hoping that we never repeat the same mistakes. Yeah. Yes. Now, the way I look at it is because I believe that I've had millions of lifetimes. I have been around since, well, I've never not been around, right? That's what I believe about me. And I have been all of it, and you know, and now I'm, you know, and I'm still going to carry on being all of it. Anyway, I believe that each lifetime I've had has been one experience. So I've got to this lifetime now where I have remembered, I've come into this lifetime now, and I now remember that I am and I have experienced all of it. At one lifetime or another, I have been all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So
Yep.
when you ask the question, like, have the indigos and crystals, they all come in? Well, I don't believe they've all come. We've come in as a collective, although we have, but not for any particular purpose. We're just all here at the same time.
So you would say it's more of a product of natural evolution and transformation to get us back to the only place we have to go, really. I mean, and this is going to get a little bit into religion and Western religion and heaven and stuff, because I believe, from my purposes, that there's only one place we can go. There's only one path we're on, okay? We're going to go back to, my belief is that pure energy.
Yeah.
That pure thought, that pure energy, however you want to call it. And that we're only in these vessels and have constructed time and past, present, future, and life and death, so we can learn, we could experience, we could have fun, we could do whatever we choose to do, so we have an understanding of the human experience.
Mm.
But really, in the end, there's only one place we can go, and it doesn't matter if it takes us 100 years, 500 years, or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to what some people in Christianity may call heaven.
Well, this is heaven.
Well, to me, again, that's the ultimate ascension. That's the ultimate level of transformation and evolution, which for me, my definition would be back to that thought energy, back to that pure energy, that blissful state of just being and knowing that everything is connected and everything is love.
Yeah, but that's not a place.
For our definition right now, let's call it that, okay? I agree with you, but we have to have some sort of metaphor that people can grab onto, okay? So while you're technically right, it's not a place because it's everything, right? But
it's everywhere.
The divine dichotomy, you can't know everywhere until you know nowhere.
Nowhere.
Right? So we have to call it a place that we are aspiring to go.
Right.
Does that make sense? Okay. So in this way, the people, the religious people, Christians and of other religious beliefs, their place they need to go is, they define it as heaven. But it's that same level of ascension.
Yeah.
Okay? That, to me, is, and there's only one place we can go, and that's that. Whether you call it a heaven, whether you call it an energy field, whether you call it Fred. Okay? That's the only place we have to go, and that's the journey. And I guess to be at your point, where you said that everybody's just come in at the same time, it's because we're all here. There's a great group of people in the same driving lane, if you will, of their journey. But there is no race.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? That's the whole thing, folks. Enjoy the journey. Don't think that you're going to, if you backslide, you're never going to make it to the next level, whether you believe it and call it heaven, or whether you believe it and call it giant energy field, or the giant talking head, or the giant spaghetti monster, or whatever you believe that reward, quote unquote, is. Because it's not a reward. It's a destination. And there's only place we can go is there. And we're all going to get there.
Yeah.
So enjoy the journey. That's the main thing I want people to take really out of this conversation about ascension, about transformation, about evolution.
But there is how can I put it? There is nowhere to go. How can I put it?
Okay, yes, okay. Now we just confused everybody that's listening to us, because you're absolutely right. There is nowhere to go. We're already here.
Yeah.
Okay? There's nothing we have to do, and there's nowhere we have to go, because we're here now.
Yeah, we have no purpose.
Okay? It's like the wonderful, and I for those of you who are listening to this right now, do me a favor, grab a pen and paper and write the word nowhere down on the paper.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, put a slash between the W and the H. Because when you say you're nowhere, what you're really saying is you're now here. Okay? So in that case, you're absolutely right. But remember, the illusion we have created for ourselves is time, place, constructs, past, present, future, here, there, because of the divine dichotomy. So we're all running around because we need to get to a destination.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. There is no destination. So enjoy yourself. Enjoy life. Enjoy the journey.
So, Gary?
Yes.
Can I read my notes then? Now, although you probably said most of it.
You can read your notes, and I will apologize if I have taken any of the steam out of your sails.
No, it's okay. But I thought because it did take me a good few hours to write it, because I'm not very good at writing. But
well, you go. I've talked long enough. I will keep quiet and give the forum to you.
But it's not that long, really. But anyway. So I put Ascension Symptoms are about us letting go of old limiting beliefs that we hold about ourselves as individuals. So it's not how we, how limited beliefs we believe about other people, but it's about limited beliefs that we hold about ourselves. Things that are stopping us from, stepping into the next, your line you love saying, grandest version of the greatest vision. And, I've also put, it's a little bit like blocks. It doesn't, read well. Our DNA is changing. The body is changing. Yet our minds want to hold on. It takes time for the mind to release and let go. So just go with its flow. Okay, so it's about allowing. Don't get mad or frustrated with yourself if you feel it's taking too long, because I do know a few people have, and I have myself sometimes.
I'm guilty. That's a great piece of advice.
There is no right way through this experience.
That's another great piece of advice.
There is no right way at all. There is only your way, or there is only my way, your way. Okay. We are all natural beings, and nature doesn't rush, yet it gets all things accomplished. Trust in the process. When anxiety occurs, remember to breathe deep into yourself. Find other ways to stay grounded through the process. Focus on being present in the now. Connect with the moment. Detach yourself from any drama or chaos that may be going on around you. If you don't want drama to be your experience, focus on something you want to experience. Energy flows where attention goes.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. Wonderful advice.
So, again, this visualization is a goodie. Using your imagination, sit still when you feel the need arises. And imagine you are somewhere or doing something which makes you feel fantastic. You're happy and at peace and don't have a care in the world. Stay centered in this experience for a while and really revel in it. Use all your senses to really experience the fullness of the experience. Again, you said this before, our minds do not know the difference between what is our real experience and what isn't. So the energy that you transmit from your imaginings will attract the like experience to come to you. It may take a while, but trust in the process, it will come. Okay, so when you're actually visualizing being in that happy, joy, peaceful, beautiful place, 10 minutes, whenever, and that emanates out and attracts the experience. My other favorite tools I use are slow, deep breathing at times when I felt right to do so. I also watch a lot of children's films telling beautiful stories. I feel good films that help my body feel good about itself.
Mm-hmm.
I love inspirational films because they inspire me and encourage me to believe in myself. And I love comedies because they make me laugh, and my body loves laughing.
You love laughing? Never would have guessed that.
And another important one is to listen. I listen to myself. I follow my own inner healing guidance. Okay. I put personally, I don't rely on anyone else to ultimately know what is best for me. I love to make a final decision as to what is best for me because I love to be responsible for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is when we talk about doctors. I am not recommending this to anyone, by the way. I'm just sharing my experience. I don't go to the doctors unless on the very rare occasion it feels right for me to do so. Most of the time I heal myself. I am not saying here don't go to the doctors. What I am saying is if it feels right for you to go to the doctors, you must go to the doctors. Always follow your own intuition. Don't follow someone else's. Everyone is creating their own unique reality, so let them get on with it. You don't have to make their reality yours.
Absolutely.
Focus on creating a reality that you want to create for yourself. Here's a saying that I don't know who wrote it, but I love it. Believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who said it, no matter if I have said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense. So, as the layers of old limiting beliefs begin to rapidly fall away, and I use the word rapidly here because as time has gone on for me, with each intense shift I have experienced these past 9 years, that's when it started, really bad, there was definitely a speeding up between each one. On a good note, the more I experienced the shifts, the easier the shifts became more tolerable because I suppose I knew what to expect. Okay, last paragraph.
No, you're doing fine, Katie. You're giving great information. This is wonderful.
All right, okay. So looking at the bigger picture, think of yourself, here we go, as a cocoon transforming into a butterfly.
That's a metaphor I always use. My girlfriend hates it. She's so sick and tired of hearing it.
You are no longer a caterpillar, and there's no going back. You are in a transition period, preparing yourself and recreating yourself anew to step into a new you. A new human being who loves him herself without limitation, or in other words, stepping into the full experience of unconditional love, also known as what is.
It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. You made so many great points with that, and I heard a couple of phrases I'm going to steal and I'm going to work into my books and my workshops. I will give you full credit. I love that line where you said, "Nature, we are natural creatures, and nature never rushes. It just lives."
Gets all things accomplished. I don't know who wrote that either, but yeah.
That's wonderful, and
yeah.
That's just great. Wonderful information, wonderful advice. Really, I thank you for sharing that because I wish when I was going through my situation, someone had told me what you had said instead of me learning it the hard way, which is enjoy it, don't worry, don't rush through it. It's all natural. Listen, the most important thing you said, listen to yourself, listen to your instinct.
Yeah.
And I think what was marvelous, when I was listening to what you said, it's all taken into this ascension, transformation, evolution, but it's also the advice, and think about this for a second, that behavioral psychologists will give to their patients who are dealing with stressful situations in their life. It's the advice marriage counselors will give to families who are going through a rough time. So we are all talking about the same thing, whether we're coming at it from a metaphysical standpoint or a scientific standpoint or a religious standpoint. We're all talking about the same thing, which leads us back to we're all one.
Yeah.
And that ascension, evolution, transformation, is happening to you. It's happening to me. It's happening to everyone who's listening to us, even if they may not be aware of it at this moment, because in their illusion of time that they created, they're not at that point yet. But you will be. Enjoy the journey. Katy, it just wonderful. Thank you for sharing, because I love that information. And if you could email me a copy of your notes so I could have for my purpose, that would be great. And maybe if we could put them up on the Group of One site so our listeners can actually go there and look at them as well. Yeah. Would that be possible?
Yeah, that's fine. And, you know, anything that's there, anybody listening, if they want to take any of it, they can, you know. We are one.
Because it's very well written, wonderful advice. Thank you for sharing. And the perfect thing is, we've got 5 minutes left, so it was just perfect timing. Yay! Everything happens in the way it's supposed to happen.
Gosh, you sound like me.
I learned when we first started this, before when we were in the green room and we were talking about this, we kept looking at each other and going, I have no energy. I cannot do this today. So tired. What are we going to talk about? I have no idea where this is going to go. And we just gave it up to the universe, and we gave it up to the moment, and we just, at least for me, focused on being in the moment and sharing this conversation with you. Not worrying whether we were reaching anyone in the outside world.
Yeah. No, likewise.
Not worrying about
I forgot.
one person or 100 people or 1,000,000 people listening to us over YouTube. Just concentrating on talking with you, my friend. And as it turned out, we had the perfect conversation that lasted the perfect amount of time and ended with some wonderful advice, which you said.
Oh, thank you.
So everything happens for a reason. Now, our next show is 2 weeks from today, whatever date that is.
Yeah, and that's with, which is Harold, isn't it?
Is that the show with Harold?
Okay, just have to wait a minute. I've just got to quick.
We think the next show, which will probably be like April 7th, somewhere around there, that we have a couple of special guests. We are going to have Harold Becker and John Glotz from the Love Foundation. Goltz, I'm sorry, I always do that. John, forgive me. And that's going to be in 2 weeks. And I'm just going to sit here and fill time while Katy looks for the email on this show.
Yeah, no, April the 7th.
April 7th, yes, okay.
April 7th. So that would be Harold Becker and John T. Goltz. Harold W. Becker.
Harold W. Becker. And I am Gary H. Karp.
And I'm Katy A. West. Sorry.
We're just having fun with this. We're getting a little slap happy here, folks. Please.
Yeah, we are. I've just lost you a minute. Where are you? There you go. Okay, right, here you go. So yes, so that's actually, if anybody's living in Bristol, I've got a Group of One meetup group happening this Sunday, which is on the Downs. So anybody lives in Bristol listening to this, if anybody's interested in, we've got quite a few shows leading up to August the 11th, where we haven't really got anything sort of planned, so it probably might just be a go with the flow and see what happens. But if anybody would like to join us, please join the Group of One. So it's groupofone.org. It's free to join the site, and contact either myself or Gary and let us know that you'd like to be on one of the shows, you know, if you want something to talk about. So as I said, right, here we go. April the 7th is part 7, and that's with Harold Becker, and that we're going to be talking, they are the president and founder and vice president and treasurer of the Love Foundation. The Love Foundation and Group of One, they work in practical collaboration together, inspiring people to love unconditionally. We're going to have them on board because Global Love Day is May the 1st. And so that's a celebration. The theme, Love Begins With Me, that's going to be all around the world on May the 1st.
Just interrupting, am I Skyping in and doing sessions on that May 1st? Is that what we decided?
Oh,
is that?
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that afterwards.
Okay,
yeah.
I just need to get my schedule straight.
Yeah, okay. And then on Tuesday, April 21st, we have another guest called Jenny Cox, and she's the founder of the Balance Procedure. So we're going to have a good chat about balance on that day. So as I said, www.groupofone.org, and in the discussion I will I'll copy and paste all those notes that I read out earlier, and I'll send you a copy as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, folks. We thank you for joining us on what we hope was an entertaining and informative hour. I know Katie and I enjoyed ourselves, and we will be back again in 2 weeks to do it. Just go on, live your life, and remember, whatever you're going through, it's meant to happen, and it's going to take you to the only place you can go, which is your version of the grandest version of the greatest vision you ever had of yourselves. That's what ascension, evolution, and transformation really, really means. So,
Gary,
yes.
Sorry, can I just say one more thing?
Absolutely, go ahead.
If there's somebody can either relate to anything that I've said, if they do want to contact me, they can do. Again, via the Group of One. They will have to join the Group of One site, but they can contact me via that. Now, if they just want to share an experience, because I remember when I was going through it, I didn't want to talk to anybody because so many people didn't understand. Especially because of, the spiritual side of things. But yeah, so anyway, I'm there if anybody needs me.
And that is very important. So if you are going through these things and you're having confusion and you want someone to talk to, join the Group of One site. It's a meetup site. You could also join the Group of One Facebook page and reach out to either Katie or myself. We're not experts by any stretch of the imagination, but we have been where you have been, and it's all about helping people. That's why we're doing these conversations now. So if you're confused and you're going through something, sign up on the Group of One meetup page, join and like the Meetup One group page on Facebook, reach out to Katie and I, and we'll talk with you, and we'll see what's going on, and we'll see if we can help you any way we can. Katie, I'll leave you with the final word for this evening, and that word will be?
Hooray!
Hooray! Folks, that's a good word to go out on. Again, thank you very much for joining and watching. We'll see you April 7th. Have a great rest of your week.